Imagine a world where everybody is connected. Imagine a world where somebody in Japan can do a transaction with somebody in the United States without high banking fees. Imagine a world no longer ruled by greedy corporate banks. There's going to become a time when we think of central banks in the same way we think about calling an operator to talk to a friend on the phone. This weird, annoying entity that came between us and the things we actually wanted. You aren't going to drown in fees anymore. You aren't going to borrow money from a bank. You aren't going to fight a half a dozen middlemen. It'll just be you and your money anywhere on earth. And once this happens, cryptocurrency could very well make the US dollar obsolete. Once people understand how easy this is and get used to it, the demand for legacy money controlled by a government and bank is going to plummet like a rock. Welcome to the world of cryptocurrency. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to special Saturday early morning crypto talk. We are doing a special crypto talk this morning where we will be covering an interview. Just like last week, we interviewed my father. See, I know we've been talking about it for actually a couple of years now about introducing my community to my dad and major influence on my life. So we finally did that interview last Saturday, and today, this morning, we're going to do another interview of another influential African-American male in my life, Dr. Byron Nelson, in a moment. So go ahead and type your name in the chat box and where you are listening in from. As a disclaimer, I am not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share suggestion for entertainment and education purposes only. And it is up to you to make your own informed, intelligent decision on which direction you want to move into. So far on, I see we've got a lot of people on. We are streaming on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and StreamYard Zoom. StreamYard has a new feature now, so I can give you a direct Zoom link as well. So don't be shy. Go ahead and let the world know who you are, where you're logging in from. I see my man Eldridge. Eldridge is living the life. Congratulations, man. I've been following you behind the scenes. I've been watching everything. Congratulations on your wedding, your new life, and everything outside of the United States. I see my executive assistant, Ms. Marnita Casas, on the line from Colorado. Joyce Easley from South Carolina. Patty Geis from San Diego. Mr. Mike Nowalski from New Jersey. Sue Williams from Utah. Janelle Appling from Colorado. Wendy Baird. I got your message, Wendy. Anissa Sabri. Mr. Provis Lofty from Corpus Christi, Texas. DJ from Colorado. Adolph Hayes. Good morning. I see a Facebook user. Good morning. Kenny Taylor from LA. Kevin Strouser from Georgia. Marty. How you doing, Marty? Marty Waller is from Victoria, Texas. Sherian Delane from Florida. Jacqueline Briggs from St. Petersburg, Florida. Yashika Hawkins from Columbus, Georgia. Martha Cameron from stormy Cancun. Terry Paul. I see Terry Paul. Jacqueline Briggs from Florida. Elizabeth Peterson from Durham, North Carolina. Eldridge is in Medellin, Colombia. You've got a Chinese balloon down there too? Well, what are the Chinese up to? Tracy Owens from Maryland. Linda Wright from Virginia. Lake Arrowhead, that must be Dagmar. Michael Pendleton from Maryland. Steve Randall from Memphis. Sandra Hall from Maryland. Felix Cruz from Ghana. Did I say that right? From Ghana. I don't think I have heard of that before. Facebook user from Indy. See Robert from North Carolina, Sam from Toronto, Jamal from Pasadena. You're right here in Pasadena, California, Jamal? Or is that a different Pasadena? Nathan Hansberg from Vegas. Facebook user from ATL, Stephen A. Smith, Cancun. See Wendy's in Northern California, Jackie Brown Frick from North Carolina. Carla, crazy and blessed Carla from St. Louis, Missouri. Terrence Oliver from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Fantastic. So before we get into the interview, I actually want to look a little bit about what's going on in the crypto space. I have not been able to do a crypto talk in more than 2 days. So the next one really wouldn't even be until Monday. It's throwing me off a bit. So let's take a quick look at the market and see what's going on. Share screen. All right, here we go. Okay, cool. All right, so let me just refresh this. Okay, slowed up. All right, the crypto market cap is at 1.1 trillion. It is down 0.1% in the past 24 hours, but this is Saturday, so we got to go week to week. Actually, I didn't even do a real crypto talk last Saturday. We were interviewing my dad. Bitcoin is at 40% dominance. Ethereum is at 17.9% dominance. Bitcoin is at $23,400 price range right now, down up 1.5% over the past week. Absolutely, Wendy. Ethereum is up 5.1% on the week, sitting at 1,600. BNB is up 7.4% on the week. Ripple's down barely for the week, flatline. Cardano is up 3.5. Dogecoin 7.7. Matic 7.9. OKB, though, look at this, is up 14.4% on the week. That's an outlier. And it's all the way up to number 11 token. Lido staked Ether is up 5% on the week. Shiba Inu, there was a lot of news on Shiba this week. That is up 21.7% for the week. Polkadot 5.6, Litecoin 12.2. Tron 1.4, Uniswap 6.3, Cosmos Hub 9.6. Toncoin is down 8.8. So these are the reverse. Didn't have a good week. Toncoin, Leo, Monero, Aptos. All right, so pretty much flat line. We'll look at this again come Monday morning. So let's jump into our interview for today. So last week, we interviewed my dad, and you guys had an opportunity to hear from the main male influencer in my life that you guys saw the interview. And if you didn't, I highly suggest you take a look at it again, because he is not just my father, but he's also a pillar in the African American community and in America as in large. I mean, more than he's turned 71 years old this year. He's had a major impact in the state of California. Almost became Secretary of Energy here in under the Obama administration. He's known far and wide, so I have much respect for him as a father and as a man. But tonight, or this morning, I keep saying tonight, this morning, I'm going to introduce you guys, or reintroduce to some and introduce to the rest of you, another African-American male that's had a major influence on my life. Now, I can run down the list of accolades, and there's many. We're talking about a gentleman that has decades of experience in being an entrepreneur, hasn't worked a job, and I mean, he's more than he's been alive. He's impacted thousands and hundreds of thousands of people. That's generated close to, if not more than, $1 billion in sales in organizations that he's represented. A motivational speaker and a coach. I mean, it is an honor to be able to get 5 minutes of his time. But the fact that he's been paying attention to what we've been doing in the ILCA community and engaging with us as well is also a huge, huge privilege and an honor. But I actually want to introduce him in a different way. We talk about edification from the accolades. I want to talk about from personal experience. I turned 47 years old this year. God, thank the Lord. And when I graduated from Morehouse College, when I was 21, 22 years old, we didn't have social media the way we do today. And I had the privilege of being able to be mentored and taught from African-American men while I was in my matriculation through Morehouse. And, at that time, you don't see much positivity about Black men in America outside of sports and entertainment. But to be able to see and learn from individuals that's doing it in a traditional field, and not even traditional from the standpoint of a 9-to-5 job, but from being a businessman, an entrepreneur, a creator, is even more rare. So when I came back to California, when I first started my career in direct selling, we didn't have Zoom calls, we didn't have webinars, barely. We had conference calls if you can afford the long distance. And if we wanted to learn anything on a Saturday morning like this, I had to get in my car and drive 1.5 hours, 2 hours to an office, the West End on Century Boulevard. And I was told, you've got to go listen to this gentleman by the name of Mr. Byron Nelson. And they told me, he graduated from Morehouse as well, Brandon. So I went down there, and some of my partners, we were young kids at the time, and I was blown away by what I saw and what I heard. It's almost like if you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You grow up hearing one thing, and then you're exposed to something else that changes your entire outlook on your future. This gentleman has so much heart and giving to others. There was a time on a Saturday morning, I remember they said that we've got special guests coming. Mr. Byron Nelson is bringing down Mike Ashby and Steve Carter and Pasha Oliver and Doc and a couple of other high value leaders in the industry. And you've got to be there. I barely had enough gas money to get there. I definitely didn't have any parking money. I just said, I just got to be there. I'll figure it out. And I got down there, and afterwards, I was blown away as usual. And I didn't know, I forgot. How am I going to leave? And Dr. Nelson and Mike Ashby took care of me. And they don't remember that. But it's little things like that get seared in my brain that I'm forever thankful and grateful for. And the impact. So I want to introduce to you guys and bring up to the table a gentleman I have much respect for that take time this morning. Dr. Byron Nelson. Dr. Nelson,
Yes,
are you
sir.
there?
I am. How are you, sir?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule for being here with us this morning. I don't know how much time you have, but you can take as much time as you
Whatever
need.
you need. I'm on your schedule, brother. I'm right here.
Fantastic. Well, I want people to hear your story as well before we get into why you got into crypto and some of the projects that you've got going on. But let everybody know who is Dr. Byron Nelson.
Oh man, there's a story in itself. I love that. So the two documentary of who I am should be coming out within the next 3 to 4 years, and I'm really excited about doing it. One of the things my mentor said is, if your life is not worth writing about, it's not worth living. And what was really powerful about that is journaling all of your different excerpts in your journey as you become who you need to become. The irony is that being the surrogate of so many extraordinary leaders and a student of so many amazing leaders, such as Sir Richard Branson, such as Les Brown, such as the person who really founded my orator skills, which was Dr. Miles Monroe. It just culminated, right? And I'll go to the original factor, which was my father. So I have a trilogy that I'm working on right now that's coming out, and give a little bit of the second book, which is really about my father becoming the man that you said that you want to be. And he always had in our spirit to have the pen behind the paper, if that makes sense. He said, you don't want to be the person that's receiving the ring. You want to be the person who's writing the check for the person who received the ring. You don't want to be the person who gets the championship. You want to be the person who sponsored all the ones that received the championships. I didn't really understand that when I was young, but it really went back to an original statement that you want to be the last broke Nelson in the family tree. The first book that's actually coming, which will be done within the next 90 days, actually, is Finish What You Start. I quit everything that I ever started in life. I quit baseball, basketball, first grade, junior high, college. I quit everything I could ever quit over and over again until I came to this one point in my life when I was in my 20s. And I said, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to go this. I'm going to take this all the way to as high as I could go. And that was exciting to me to finally finish something. We start cleaning our house, but we don't finish it. We start reading a book, but we don't finish it. We start, so many things, but we don't complete what we start. There's so many things that I can go down the list. But when you start to feel the accomplishment of finishing certain tasks, we get excited. People are excited right now about crypto, but they don't finish it. And it's going to be very costly to not finish an understudy of an entire makeup, an entire re-landscaping of the economic world in which we're going into. I look at different things that people came short on and businesses came short on. I look at Blockbuster was offered, pennies on the dollar to merge, right? As streaming came into play, as all these different modalities came into play, Netflix, and they're like, we're comfortable where we are, not understanding how fast things were moving with Moore's Law and the collapse of time frames of things moving into the next generation, the next evolution of time and the way we live. That's the one thing that's permanent is time. And so who I am at this point in my life, the root will never change. And that is making a difference and a change that will be said and spoken about and read and written about years after I'm gone. If what I'm doing is not worth reading about, 1,000 years after I'm gone, this life is not worth living. So it's really maximizing the milliseconds in our life, understanding that there's 1,440 minutes in a day, and most people don't know what they did last Tuesday unless somebody passed, somebody gave birth, somebody had a birthday, or unless they're at work, at a job. Somebody told them where to be for 70, 80% of their life. Oh, I was at work last Tuesday. Yeah. That's something to read about. That's something to talk about. That's something to, it's like, I don't know. It's a whole bunch of walking dead, so to speak. But I'm more inspired about the projects of making a difference in other people's lives. We have a project right now, which is called M&M, which is the Millennial Millionaires. It's between 18 and 28 of young men and women that aspire to get to the next level. And I don't like to throw around the word millionaire because it really means nothing in today's society. I need to be very clear about that. I have a different approach when it comes to understanding money. It's nothing more than energy. Money in itself is defined by time, people, space, and energy. That's all it is. It's abundance, it's wealth, it's being able to move with velocity through life without any boundaries, no constraints, nothing locking you down. If it wasn't for you, which is only a few people on the planet who can get me up, I don't take a phone call before 10 a.m. I don't want to hear a voice except for God's. I don't want to have, not that I'm not up. I wake up here at the ocean, but, it's really about having that freedom ticket of doing what you want, when you want, where you want, how you want, with who you want. At no time do you stop for anything other than what you want to do on passion and purpose. And that's exciting. So really the projects we're working on right now, what's happening in the metaverse, which, you're very familiar with the projects you're working on, our collaboration, what we're doing with, teaching people about new modalities.
Hold that thought, because we're going to come back to that in a second.
Okay. Okay.
Jump to ahead. There's something else I want you to really hit on, because it made a big impact with me when I was young. You taught a series about who is in your circle, changing the people in your circle. You
much
said,
so.
I think you were one of the first people that I heard say this. Look at the 5 closest people around you, add up how much money you make in a year, and I can guarantee that's what your bank account's going to look like. Can you share a little bit about that? Because you talk about that a lot.
There's an onion to that. I won't go too deep on it since it's an interview, but I believe the table, we see all these different conversations about who sits at your table. and we see people who actually have taken it upon themselves to say, I am the table, I bring the table. But at your table, and I learned this from Oprah. The evolution or the moving chairs is like a musical chairs. If you take ownership of that table should be constantly evolving. And if you're blessed enough to have 3 or 4 of the original people that were sitting at that table over a long course of time, you'll see history has been made of people who fight to stay at the table. There's the interior of the table. Those are the people that have been around you. They have your back. They are the root to the tree. They are the people that feed you. The root of a tree does not need to be seen. They aren't looking for accolades. They could care less if you have $1 billion in your pocket. They could care less if you're on Skid Row. They make sure that you live. The reason they're appointed, God appointed to your life, is to make sure that the tree grows, because your appointment is to be able to go out and feed millions of people, to create a harvest, to truly become something of great significance. That's the interior. As you get through the portals, you start to understand there's an internal, there is an exterior, and then there is an external. These are people in your life that might as well be the leaves on the tree. They come in for a season and they blow away. They get excited. One of the greatest pieces that have been spoken about is Confidants by T.D. Jakes, and understanding constituents and understanding the people who truly want to pray for you, see you win, see you rise. And when you take that and culminate the net worth of individuals that sit at that table, you can look and see exactly what your worth is. Can you call, here you go. Can you call 5 people and say, I need $1,000, and they not ask why? Can you call 5 people, 3 people, and ask for $10,000, and then they don't ask why? Can you ask for 100,000? Where does the circle end? That's how much you're worth. That's your table. Because see, you could call an exterior friend and say, you know what, I need $10 for gas or for valet. Can I get this back to you next week? But can you go to the valet and say, you know what, I'm going to go to a meeting and I just need an extra 100,000. I'll get it back to you in 2 weeks or 2. For what? 100,000? Where am I supposed to get it? Well, here's my cold wallet. You could just send it into my own wallet. Send in crypto. I don't care how you send it. I just need an extra 100,000. It doesn't matter that you have $1 million, 10 million, or 20 million. It is the people that sit around you, and it is truly metaphorical. So I don't want people to get caught up in the money again, but it's how far can you go based on how you have served the people that sit in your interior that can give you the fluidness to be able to move with velocity. A lot of people want to sit on their, on their oars and tell you what they have, who they know, how much they've acquired, how much they've accomplished. This is what I'm doing. And it really goes back to a conversation of what we taught years ago, Brandon, and that is being more interested than interesting. The true essence of leadership is how we serve. And if you serve the right people at your table, if you prepared the right meal for the people at your table, if you've helped the right people at your table, you will never go without loss. You will never be trapped. You will never be held hostage to not knowing where you're going, how to get there, a compass, a GPS, or a lighthouse, to be able to get out of any jam in life because of not how great you have become, but because of how you have served other people around you. That's your table. It's not anything more than the worth of the people, the salt and grain of the people that sit around you. I did a piece that I just got the video on, and it was an amazing. I actually when you get high on your own supply, God was involved. And I sat there and I talked about my CEO, and I said my CEO is just, when I bring people into my circle, now I got to check with my CEO because he's a G. He just knows everything that's going on. But he had a conversation with me, and he said, "Hey, yo, B, this person here you're about to bring in, they have high hopes, high wishes, but they're never going to finish what they say. They're always going to be kind of lost at sea. This person here, they're going to have your back. They got that integrity fabric. He said, you know, I partner with quite a few people. I said, I have too. He said, I know, but I need you to trust me. I said, but you have trusted a lot of people. He said, look, I partnered with this one guy, um, and he didn't listen. And he let this woman in, you know, her name was Eve. This guy was amazing. His name was Adam. She messed up the entire garden. I said, huh? He said, yeah, I partnered with quite a few people over the year, man. I said, gee, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, I partnered with this guy named Samson, and I trusted him. And he held his ground for a long time. He finally broke to this woman named, you know, Delilah. He said, I'm going to trust you. He said, but I need you to understand it's not for you to blame the rib. It's for you to blame your own instinct and understanding the discernment that I gave you, that these pieces were put in place to build you into a giant. We have a tendency, when you look at the men through all of time, of wanting to blame someone else or something else. And a lot of times it comes by way of, you know, the supporting factors that I put at the table. They were bringing you meals. You were pushing for something else. You had your own agenda. I asked you to serve me and do it at the highest frequency with no ego, and to just understand the love and the sacrifice that I put on this planet for other people to be able to win. And that would be who I am. And that's how I serve my table at this point. Is surrounding myself with extraordinary, amazing, God-fearing individuals that have a work ethic, they have a dream, and they have no ego, but to be able to make this place an extraordinary place. Hence why I would partner with a Brandon Ivey and so many other people. It's not an intention or something we set out to do. Like today, I'm going to help people. Today, I'm going to live in gratitude. It's part of their DNA. It's part of who they are. You know, even my partner, we talk about this all the time of just living. I mean, she has taught me more than anything else about living in gratitude for every second and every milliminute that we're here on this planet. We want to partner with people, life partners, business partners, friends, and we want to get rid of the snakes in the grass. But you can't get rid of that which is bad until you get what's bad in you out. So it's a commitment of greatness. It's a commitment to excellence. It's a commitment to truly making a difference. And by default, the abundance, the wealth, the flow, the river, the Euphrates starts to, the diversified streams of income. And we aren't talking about money. Just break the word down. Income. That means everything is coming in. You know.
Well, let me ask
not
you. Not
everything is going out.
Please. You mentioned Dr. Miles Monroe. Who else probably, because we, we can talk all weekend, but who had the most impact that you still fall back on now as far as a mentor or influencer who's taught you some philosophies that you live by?
Dr. George Fraser has an extraordinary impact on me. Dr. Les Brown has had an extraordinary impact on me that I fall back on. The mentorship that I currently have in my house today is a quiet. I keep that quiet, if that makes sense, for personal, to protect them. But I have an extraordinary panel. I am at my table. If I open up any of those doors, we'd be here for a very long time. I can start with my partner. I can go to my sister. I can go to Dr. Stacey Grant, even Steve and Pasha, who are still two of my best friends. But I keep my confidants close, and I keep my mentors right there at a phone call away. And I make sure that, obviously I start with God and work down the list. But it depends on the lane that we're talking. Like, for example, I count on you in a myriad of ways. We don't have true mentorship and confidants. You don't have to talk to every day. They just have to be there. We call them lifers, people that are within a 7-11 range. You can't call somebody a true confidant, a friend, or a mentor that you can go to see like a 7-11, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. that you can't access. That type of mentorship is priceless, of knowing who's in your, who's in your tool shed. And unfortunately, a lot of people that are just a hammer or just a screwdriver, they actually think they're the tool shed, not understanding how, not, and that's a training in itself. And there's some people, they're just a screw or a nail, and they actually think they're a hammer or screwdriver. But if you have an amazing, tool shed, and you protect and take care of your tools, they will take care of you in a way that you've never seen. Most people are trying to build a house with a screwdriver, not understanding they need a hammer, and they don't have one because
Right.
they're so used to doing everything by themselves. That is one of the biggest problems, is that people are attempting to do things by themselves, but you've never seen anyone become extraordinary without an amazing team. I don't want the number one brain surgeon going in and doing brain surgery on me by himself, and he doesn't have a team. I don't want one attorney going in and defending me. The ones that have won most cases, they have a squadron. Even Jesus had 12 disciples. Even one still betrayed him, but he had a squad. It's easier to run with 3 than to drag 1,000. You have to have, I look at how Marnita serves you. I look at how Erica has served me. I can go down a list of just people that live in a selfless mode of constant contribution and commitment to making things work. And that comes down to how great, which is what Dr. Miles Monroe left with me. I studied from 2006 to 2009, every summer, which was only 3. I was blessed enough to have 3 summers sitting at the foot of Jim Rohn, a man that is iconic. I call him the wizard behind the curtain, because unless someone is really deep into self-empowerment, into and self-development, they don't even know who he is. But half of the world of leaders today in this century and the last were created because of this man's inspiration, his knowledge, his wisdom, the way he would pour into people. And when you have a mentor, which is what I pride myself on, if I put my hand on someone, their life will change from such a benevolent perspective. It's one of those things in which I take so much pride in, that I will take on your dream to make sure, because if you get what you want, I get everything that I want. That's just a beautiful equation of life and success. So,
well, let's transition into the crypto side, because we have people who still have a 9-to-5 job type of mentality. We have people that have entrepreneurship, sales. Then we've got people that are investors. So you before crypto, you have a legendary success record. What made you decide to put your attention and focus and then start putting your energy into the crypto arena?
You know what? I love change. I love shape shifting. I love cutting edge things that, it's the third eye, seeing things that other people don't see. Sorry, maybe they know I'm talking. The sirens are coming. I'm sorry, but maybe it's just really. I was having a conversation the other day that I also love. I'm a novelist when it comes to things that have, like, for example, I went to the airport the other day. I actually went looking for a payphone. I intentionally went to find a payphone. They don't exist. I remember, and I may be dating myself for some of the people on the call, but I remember when they had a travel agent and you actually had 12 desks in one room. I remember I was so enamored with travel and wanted to travel my whole life that I would find, I had a travel agent, a special travel agent. Then he had the desk in the back because he was the best at being able to get travel, whether it was a cruise, a plane. There are no travel agents anymore. I remember I used to go into a bank and I would sit there and enamored because, all the way back to Westerns, and even in a day in which you and I have lived, I had experienced seeing 12 windows that don't exist anymore for walking up to a teller. It's crazy. I remember when I would go and you would go up to the airline itself and you had all these people that would help you actually check in. And today there's just a kiosk.
Hmm.
So when you look at the crypto world, and for people who don't get it or don't understand it, I share this cliche that we will always be at the train station waiting for our ships to come in if you do not wake up and become an understudy of change.
Hmm.
And there's a secret to that. Ships don't come to the train yard. You will be sitting there with a ticket, full access at a train station, thinking you're about to sell somewhere. It's amazing how we get lost in the minutia of life, and it's based on our ignorance of how we miss things until we're full-blown consumers of it. The digital era is completely here. I remember so clearly where people used to say, I'm not computer literate. Well, today, if you don't use a computer, you are illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing is happening with the digital. And people have asked me, so do you think that this Coinbit, this Ether thing, this Ethereum, and what are some of the things? Aren't they one and the same? And what's Solana, and how does that work exactly? And what about the metaverse? And I look and I'm like, it amazes me that you would not take the time. Well, do you think that this fake money, or I literally have one of my best friends who told me less than a year ago, it's fake money. It will never exist. Now I have clocked in, I won't go into how blessed I've been over the last 2 years, but it's been ridiculous. It has been, so I've made more. Let me put it like this. By the end of 23, I'll have made more money in 3 years than I have made in 30.
Mm.
And I have done really well, as you know. And so when we're
Let me
that
ask you
far
that real
removed,
quick too, because you mentioned your best friend. What do you say to the critics? And we're talking not critics that's on the street corner, but you've got the Charlie
right.
Mungers of the world
Oh,
who just came out with a report that this crypto thing is crap. And so, the critics like to point to him.
yeah.
Well, he helped make the wealthiest man in the world, and he doesn't believe in this crypto stuff. What would you say to
He
people who
really is.
actually that?
This one I'm talking about is really one of my best friends, and I remember it so vividly because I didn't want to confront him. He said it amongst a poker game,
Mm.
and it was 5 of us sitting there, and I got quiet and I left it alone, and I had a conversation with him outside about it on a personal tip, and I said, you're one of the people in my closest circles. I have no judgment about your opinion or your lack of intelligence, what's going on, but I need you to really, really look at it and pay attention. That's all I'm asking you to do. He said, because you asked me to, I would. And we left it alone. We would never put each other on blast like that because it was borderline offensive, but not offensive because I understand the ignorance and the fear. When people don't understand something, they fear it. When the internet came about, they feared it. They didn't understand it. You look at it today, and like they ask about, like you said, one of the questions or one of the conversations that comes up in regards to currency, digital currency, is, do you believe that it will replace the dollar? I'm sure you've heard that many times. And my answer to that, because stories sell and facts tell, is that at one point in life, we all depended upon the post office. Like for real. Like you would wait 2 weeks for a letter to get across the country. And then it sped up and it sped up and it sped up, and it became a beacon, an anchor, a root of society at that time of life. Today, the post office it still exists. So our currency of digital currency is not going to replace, whatever peso, dollar, franc, whatever you have, but it's going to become obsolete in regards to understanding that I can move right now $1 million in under 3 hours versus having to wait 3 days of it going through a wire across the world without the fees, without having to go in and sign for it, without going into the bank, without sitting up there and saying, this is over 10,000, I have to send $9,999 and then do a write-up on it as to where my money is going and being, controlled and monitored by the government as to how much money I'm moving, what I'm doing. I literally have moved millions of dollars of this past year at the push of a button and continue to do so on a daily basis. Once you learn how to tie your shoes, you'll never go back to just putting on boots because you don't know how to tie them. Once you learn how to be able to move and have more freedom because you have access. The reason people are locked in on the job is because they're scared to learn something and depend on themselves.
Mm.
That's what a job is. A job is depending on somebody else to think for you and pay you to do a specific skill. And instead of you taking the time and betting on yourself to learn a specific skill to make you more valuable, to be able to give more contribution to the human race, that people will pay you so much for who you are. You are a very distinct individual that nobody else would be able to do what you do. That value is priceless. The corporations see it. That's why they pimp you.
Mm-hmm.
But your time is on lockdown. They keep you you get off of your job and now you're talking about Trump. You get off of your job and now you're talking about Kyrie. You get off your job and now you're talking about Kanye. They give you so many things to distract you in the news of people who are living their best life to talk about the people that are living their best life. Good, bad, or indifferent, opinions don't matter. You can't deposit them. People ask me, well, what's your opinion? I don't have one. What do you think about such and such? I don't think about such and such. I'm too busy thinking about what I got to do to bless and serve so many other people. This currency, this landscape economically is so transformative. The blockchain is so amazing of what it's doing within the health industry. Mm. They're as scared of blockchain as they are and were of Dr. Sebi curing cancer. That's a deep statement right there. But that's how fearful they are. The institutions, the monetary, when you look at what Wells Fargo did, what Bank of America did, even Chase did to rip off, let's just look at Wells Fargo, why they are almost obsolete but still standing. The government came in and bailed these governments out, these companies out, bailed them out, billions of dollars to keep their infrastructure of pimping alive. Mm-hmm. Blatantly ripped off the entire public. Blatantly. Now, for you or I, Brandon, and the way we look, we would not see the light of day for the rest of 2 lifetimes if we were even involved in any capacity. But there is no accountability. They created an infrastructure for so long that they're able to get away with highway robbery. The new gangsters are not in the streets. They're the politicians. They're the bankers. They're in the health industry. Oh my God, that's a conversation itself. It's just amazing. They prefer to keep you alive until you die so that the pharmacies can make their money. Those are the gangsters. Oh my God, the knowledge that I have. I just cut my head off. It's just crazy how much people are getting rich at the blood, sweat, and tears and at the pain of so many extraordinary, amazing people. This goes back to the seed of who I am and why I fight so hard for what we are here for. Because a lot of people think the digital currency and the blockchain and what we're doing has to do with money. No, it has to do with life. Everything. Our records, when you look at what they're able to do right now on the chain, our everything from our birth, our history, our ancestry to our banking, you're able to save people's lives with just being able to get information to and from so much faster. It's just amazing, man. This thing is it is the new world. It is truly, it will never go back. It's kind of like pushing a stroke or pushing or typing out words on a computer and you push send. You can't get it back. It's like telling somebody F you or cursing somebody out. You can apologize, but you can't get it back. Where we are with the digital currency and what we're doing with everything we have going on right now, it's not going to go back. So either the masses, and this gets into a bigger conversation, and since this is Black History Month, we are the worst at it as a people of understanding, taking the time. Most of us are so busy being broke and caught up in trying to high sign and impress. You know, it's been since 1965. If you want to hide something from us, put it in writing. This is a new book. This is a new code. This is a new writing. This, if we do have some brothers and sisters that go back to the hieroglyphics. That's what blockchain is. It's the new hieroglyphics. It's the new. It's the scribes. It's not new. It's actually just a new writing, a new way of being able to share and know. But most of us, when we looked on the wall when it was scratched, like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. I guess I just need to keep going out here and breaking these stones. Got it. Okay.
Well, with saying all of that and this new change, we've got a new industry that's emerging that I believe most people are clueless about, that is going to change every person's life dealing with AI technology and the metaverse. And you caught that vision, and you've got a project that's taking advantage, just like every single bank right now is getting positioned in the metaverse. Every single major business is getting positioned in the metaverse. You're seeing that as an individual. So share with us what you're doing and what you're bringing to the table for everybody to take a look at with this whole metaverse projects.
So the metaverse project, and you know, I'm most excited about the metaverse, AI, and some personal projects. Personal projects, my internal world already knows. So I'll stick with the metaverse and the AI. Man, this year, GPT, what you're able to do in being able to, I have a friend who just 2021 paid to have a business plan written. Cost him $10,000, and it took 3 months to have it ripped out. My partner did the same business plan through the AI that's out today. Had it done in an hour with more resources, more references, more depth, more facts, had his own program coded by the AI system for an app that he's putting out, had it coded all in under an hour for free. The AI system is going to completely, and it already is, replacing an entire human workforce by 30 to 40% of what is currently in play today in less than 5 years. Google just laid off 50,000 people. The young lady and her husband, she was in the hospital giving birth. The husband called to her from the room, I guess they were in the same room, saying, I can't get into the computer. While she was going through this giving birth, she was waiting to give birth, couldn't get into the system. They emailed them from Google. They emailed them their termination papers. They've been here for 15 years. They already have a child that's 2.5 years old. And if they don't find a job within 60 days, they have to be deported back to their country.
Oh.
And this is running rampant right now. It is getting so sharkish within these waters of understanding or lack of understanding of the evolution. Right now, we're talking about metaverse. We know what Google has done. We're talking about AI. They obviously know what AI is. We're talking about people that work right in the house of cards, right in the house of noise. And you're getting sliced and diced with the carpet being pulled from right up underneath you. The project that I'm currently working on right now is a project which allows, and I'll touch on it, I won't go into the depth of it, but it's amazing. It's a metaverse project that allows main speakers, professional speakers, as well as artists to perform within the metaverse. We're able to sell in excess of, I'm just going to say, just hypothetically, 4 million seats around the world. So if one could envision having Neha from India, and if you aren't from India, if you don't know music at that level internationally, you don't know who Neha is. Just like there's so many second world countries that don't have a clue as to who Beyonce is, but
Right.
everybody here thinks they are, right? And I can go and use artists down in South America. Well, we're doing this in a parallel universe of artists as well as speakers, and which we will be. I will be having you on there as well, Brandon, in regards to being able to expose people and educate people in places where everybody has a cell phone, everybody's living off of a tablet, but not everybody has a computer screen and not everybody has a television. We have 8 billion people on the planet. And with the metaverse, you're able to capture by way of tablet, phone, or computer, a whole new marketplace to expose people to new knowledge and new things. And so we're able to have, just hypothetically, a concert or a speaking engagement where I have literally everybody there and they're able to tap into it, and we're able to reach the entire world right from your own home now. We're talking about the next level is just holographic, but to be able to have just a green room or, do a full concert, and you're now reaching millions of people without ever leaving your house. And I'm talking about, like, this sounds as crazy as digital currency did when it first came onto the ground, because people are just not going to get it until they're the ones spending money on it.
Mm-hmm.
The next level of that is that we are truly doing a give back. We're doing the first metal lottery in the world. We have gamers, the top 10 gamers in the world, that are going to be competing in the metaverse. So we've already captured the metaverse audience, and we're just going to expand it organically. But to be able to do that with some of the top speakers in the world that have topics like what you have going on and what you did with your father, and so much education and wisdom in so many different veins and lanes of new knowledge, and to be able to help people grow in so many areas of their life without them having to travel and fill up arenas. But you can still physically do it in an arena, and then couple that with the metaverse and be able to have, imagine a stadium like the NFL championship coming up next weekend, and it's still being able to reach, like, everybody, like people actually physically being there. Like people can actually go into the back, the back of where only reporters can go. Now you can go and actually meet your favorite player. Oh my God. It's just amazing. And people would think you and I are crazy the way we're talking about it until you experience it.
Mm-hmm.
Until you experience something, you look at it almost like, oh, that sounds interesting. No, you're interesting. You're going to be a casualty of a war you don't even know you're a part of. Mentally, emotionally, financially, a casualty of war. And then have to explain to your kids, well, mom and dad saw this, but we decided not to take a part of it. So because we were committed to being broke and working a job for the rest of our life, just know that it's going to happen for you and your children too. Really? That's your conversation? So yeah, the metaverse, that project is so extraordinary, man. I am so excited about what we're able to do. The people that jump on understanding AI and understand the metaverse will literally 10x, 20x, 100x their sales, their business, their exposure, being able to sell their book, being able to reach marketplaces and change lives that they could have never reached before, living into their purpose of truly being able to make a difference from even a nonprofit perspective. So many different, it really is the movie Limitless.
Mm.
That's what it is. It's the movie Limitless. You know, Jim Carrey did a movie. It was called, I always mentally mess this up. It's called When You Lived in the Bubble. Did you see that movie? When he was living in a bubble and he didn't know any different.
Yes,
God, I
yes.
can't
I
remember.
remember the name of that, but I know what you're talking about.
But I always make reference to that as the United States. We live in this perfect world, not understanding the harm that can come to us or the good that can come to us because we rely on what we know, which is nothing. That's what it comes down to.
I'll tell you,
So,
well, if we come at the top of the hour, I'll
yes,
definitely,
sir.
when you're ready with that project, we want to have you back and do
Definitely.
another interview to show that off to the community. Oh, that's right, the Truman Show. That was that one, the Truman.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
But
We
we've
live
got,
in the Truman Show.
well, we're right in the middle of Black History or the beginning of Black History Month. And in honor of this, the next 5-day challenge is next week. And we're going to be
Yes.
doing something special for everybody that does not
Hmm.
know. We're having all the panelists are Morehouse men. And leading the way
Mm.
first up on Monday evening will be Dr. Nelson. So could you let everybody know why they should be a part of something like this, that why we do the 5-day
Oh,
challenge?
the 5-day challenge has saved, um, first of all, I mean, pennies for nothing. You know, when you talk about the heart of Brandon Ivey and what he has put together, um, the cast of individuals, I don't want to leave anybody's name off. There's so many people that participate and contribute to this panel. Um, before, I was about to say, before the Truman Show, there's so many people that contribute to this 5-day challenge, and I've been a part of it all in 2022. It's amazing because if you want to educate yourself, it's there. What is the most expensive currency on the planet? The price that people have to pay in order to become who they need to become, to acquire what they want to acquire, to do what they need to do. It's time. And if you don't make the time to take care of your body, it will fail you. If you don't make the time to educate yourself on taxes, the government will come and get you. Everything comes down to systems. So if we're talking about a system that air people are breathing, the ecosystem, you know, the money you spend comes down to the tax system, where you send your kids to the school system. What Brandon does in this 5-day challenge is he teaches you the digital system so that you can operate without fumbling and losing millions of dollars, so that you can actually access the information that he has actually taken amongst a crew of people years to amass and put together, where he is sought after at every table, at every platform that comes down to understanding this. I mean, Gary Vee is making millions off of NFTs. There's not a person I know that's evolved right now that has not positioned themselves one way or another within this realm. Uh, and you need to educate yourself. And when you can get access to it for, like I said, nothing, but be upgraded to a VIP within this system, to truly know where the deals are, the transactions are, where you can learn from other. I mean, it's the greatest lesson of life, right? It's what every one of my mentors and Brandon and everybody else has ever said. And that is, there's only going to be two ways that you learn: your own mistakes and somebody else's.
Mhm.
Learn from somebody else's.
Well, speaking on that, guys, we first of all to be a part of Dr. Nelson's group and organization. You see it on the screen. You can message him at 530-640-5835. Shoot him a message. He does also trainings throughout the week and for his private
Mm-hmm.
group. And we talked about, that's why I asked him the question about your circle at the beginning. You definitely want to be in a circle, but you also want to be able to qualify. Do you qualify to be
Right.
in this circle? So this is the
All
first
right.
step to getting there. To be a part of the 5-day challenge next week, get back to the person who's inviting you to listen to this today. They will give you a special link. If you don't have anybody that's invited you, then you just go to ilcachallenge.com. Simply ilcachallenge.com. cryptochallenge.com. Register right there. There's no cost. We have not only Dr. Nelson on Monday, but Tuesday night we have another Morehouse grad, and I'm actually interviewing him on the 25th of this month. He's got a book already out on blockchain technology. I think he's in Atlanta attending Founders Day this weekend and this week. He's also is sought after at every blockchain expo. They got him coming on to do speaking on the stage. So we've got Mr. Eric Guthrie. And thank you, Dr. Nelson, for making that connection. Because I didn't know about that brother before.
Yeah,
so
he's a great brother.
Yes, sir. Wednesday night, Professor Oscar Sistrunk of Morehouse College was teaching at Morehouse since the 70s. I think he started there in 75 teaching. And
I remember him.
Yeah, Professor Sistrunk. So then, Thursday night, we've got my freshman year roommate, Mays Hall, room 323, Mr. Lamar Slater from San Diego. He's going to be speaking. He is very involved in the local community in San Diego and the Alumni Association for Morehouse, and was named Morehouse Alumni of the Year, I think 2019 or 2020. And I love to say, yeah, that was my roommate. So I got Lamar coming up on Thursday, and then we're going to do something different on Friday. If they're available, I'm going to have all the 5 panelists come back on Friday, because Friday we talk about how to make money in crypto. So instead of just telling you about it, I want to have these gentlemen, because all of these gentlemen have made money in crypto. And so there's many different ways. Dr. Nelson's very big in investing and compounding, and Eric is speaking and writing books, and then Professor Sistrunk is teaching, and he's involved in real estate, tokenized real estate. So I want you guys to tell about how you've made money in crypto, so everybody can hear that, so that there's many different ways that you don't have to be an expert at everything. You just stay in your lane that you're comfortable with. And then tonight, Dr. Nelson talked about lack of education and lack of knowledge means you're going to lose everything eventually. So we're doing the special crypto talk on the Crypto Storm is coming. This is only for founding members, those who have bought all the crypto courses, or you're on the $199 a month. I only do this once a month. And because of December last year, I haven't done this since November. So especially now is a great time. We're going to be doing that tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. But you've got to be a Diamond member on the $199 or a founding member to hear about why most people, I don't care who you are, how much money you've made, big bank, take little bank, don't impress me. I've made millions too. So you can't, but hey, Brent, I don't need your education. That doesn't, you're the first one that's going to lose all your money. Talk to Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary just lost $15 million plus part of his reputation for something simple. And then he came out on a live and said, I'll never make that mistake again. You want to know the mistake he made? Put all your crypto on an exchange. That's Bitcoin 101 we talk about. You don't do that. So we're going to talk about that tonight, how it's one thing to make money, but it's another to be able to keep it and to be able to protect it. And that's what we're talking about tonight. And that's not free. You've got to be, that's time. You got to put time and money into it. That's one thing that Dr. Nelson taught me early on, sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So, Dr. Nelson, much appreciated. Thank you for being here. Any last words you want to leave with everybody before they see you again this Monday evening?
No, be safe. It's a very challenging time. But if you want to get out of the anxiety lane, educate yourself to know more than you know currently. If you want your income to be bigger than what it is, you have to learn something that you don't know. Brandon's giving you every option. You have my number up there. We don't need you to follow us. We just want you to win. But maybe we can be a light post to be able to navigate you somewhere else. Just know where you are right now cannot change until you learn something that you don't know. You have to expand. Got to be a part of the transformation. God bless. I love you, Brandon. We'll talk this weekend. Anything you guys, anybody in the audience, anybody that can hear my voice, anything you ever need. True leaders are always accessible. Me and Brandon are always accessible and a source to be able to really, from a benevolent space, want to help. God bless.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nelson. So everybody else, we will see you tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and then the 5-day challenge on Monday. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Bye-bye.